Gang, welcome back to another bike check, another completed bike build. Completing them at an incredible pace, just making most of the summer months, I would say. This was a Brucey bonus bike that I picked up when I was last in the US, and I picked up my 84 Stumpjumper, which I posted a video on already. I popped into a community bike shop in North Washington in a city called Everett. I picked up some old components that they had. Asked them to see the, in air quotes, money room in terms of the special stuff. And the guy took me to a room full of some really cool bikes, and I'll try and post some pictures in this video. And then this thing was lying there. It was lying there, frame only, with a group set attached, but in quite a tatty state, no grips. I don't know what the story of it was, because they didn't really know what the story was, because they get donated so many bikes. So I decided to try and bring it back home, because when I picked it up, and I've never held a Klein prior to this one, it was super light. So I figured, if I strip down all the components, probably able to get it back in my bike bag without going over my weight limits. And yeah, that was true. Within like 500 grams of the airport limits, I managed to bring back the 84 Stumpjumper and this bike in the same bag. But condition was I had to strip down all the components, which I did in the actual shop at the time. It had a Deore LX front crank, which I removed. I think it had a Deore LX rear mech, which was in a tatty state, and some shifters. The only thing I kept on the bike was the front mech. Everything else I brought back as is. This one had the quirk of having the MC1 Mission Control bars, which are quite sought after. They were actually bent and compressed hair, so it clearly been involved in a crash at some point in its past life. They weren't terrible. They had a subtle bend on the right hand side of the bars, with a bit of compression in the grip. But I had my father, who's engineer by trade, use some of his vices with some wood and some metal rods to just gently bend it back. So they're pretty level now. And that was the only thing that was making me hesitate rebuild this bike. Yeah, it's got integrated cables throughout. So when I did bring it back, I decided just to keep the liners all intact throughout the frame and reuse them when I was rerouting. Would love to get a bit more history on this bike. Everyone goes after the attitudes and the adroits, the pinnacles. They tend to be external cable routing from what I've seen, and I've not seen one in this color, in this grey silver metallic. And I've looked at as many catalog images as I can find, and there's not a huge amount of information on it. The one bit of history it does have is the original store stickers. It's Wildlife Cycles, Orcas Island, which is not a million miles away from the location I ended up buying it from. So there's some provenance there. Made in the USA sticker. I have pulled off the serial number and tried to do a bit of research on that, but apparently Klein's didn't do a good job of maintaining that. So if no one in this video who watches it knows, then I'll probably end up down a Reddit forum or a Facebook marketplace to figure that out. I mean, the story for me really is that I paid next to nothing for this frame set. The guy offered for me to take it for $5, which is what, £3. I felt bad because I was like, it's a Klein. I'm here. It's got the Mission Control bars, and you're a charity. So I offered him a very generous $20 instead. So this is why I ended up with slightly bent bars, which have been bent back, and done this build on it. So if we go through it, kept the Mission Control bars. I was going to go full XTR, but as this is original to the bike, this Deore LX front mech, I figured let's keep on matching what's going on here. And the other thing is, I've got XTRs on quite a few of my bikes. Just find them quite overpriced, and I found these LX index shifters in a 3x8 combo. I like the way they sat on the bars, and I don't know if you can tell if this pick it up, there's actually a slight blue hue to the shifter pods, which I thought was quite nice. So I figured, yeah, let's do that. I actually put some bougie Paul Canty levers on, which I had lying around from a last trip to the US in black, so quite a stealthy look. I've been quite understated with this bike, as you can tell. To match the LX shifters, I went for some Nissen blue cables, 2 shades of blue there, but again, you can't really pick it up. It did have a Shimano headset. This is a 1-inch threaded headset, but I decided to go for a silver pop. This is an Origin, what was it, the Origin, can't remember, 8 headset. 1-inch headsets threaded, quite hard to find in general. I ditched the original Shimano Canties and went for my favourite Deore compis. I actually upgraded the front pads to some Cool Stop Salmons. They just stop a lot better than the harder compound that comes with the Deore compis. I left the harder compound on the rare Canty, but switched it out to Cool Stops on the front. Rims, I've ripped off my Gary Fisher. These will be replaced at some point, but these are all I had, and quite like the grey hues. I actually sourced this Middleburn RS3 triple crank. It's new old stock. Someone bought it during COVID. It's not new old stock anymore. Came with this cool red spider. I actually earmarked it for a different bike, but I figured it looked pretty cool. Threw that on, and it's working well with the triple front. As mentioned, it's got, I sourced a Deore LX rear mech as well. These again are significantly cheaper than the XTRs, so yeah, do 90% of the job. So I do recommend, if you're thinking about XTRs, have a look at the LX. They're not too bad. Fitted another Paul component. This is the Tall and Handsome handlebar. A lot of seat post sewing paired with the turbo saddle. So yeah, let's talk about fit. The frame is quite small. That's probably why I was offered to buy it for $5. I could have adjusted the geometry in this bike to make it a better fit for me. I'm 5'9.5", 32-inch inseam, but I really wanted to keep those Mission Control bars, and the geometries of these bikes, I'm dating this as an early 90s bike without the explicit facts. Yeah, they're quite long. So this is a 54 centimeter top tube as I measured it. You've got a bit of stem length there and a bit of rise, and it just about get away with it with this much exposed head tube. Standover height for me is like 27 inches. It's a lot of standover height for my 32-inch inseam. What I would say is that the frame from the center of the crank to the top of the seat post exit is around 16 inches. There's no Klein catalogue that shows a 16-inch bike, so as I understand, they would rate this as an 18-inch effective frame size. So, yeah, classic bike industry quirkiness, which I think is fairly true with the very long top tube. So I can just about make it work. It's quite a playful ride in this format. It's quite light. Doesn't ride like aluminium, I would say. It feels a bit more compliant, not as stiff as some other aluminium bikes I've owned and ridden in the past. But alas, not quite right for me. The bars are quite narrow. Again, I want to keep those intact. So this bike is destined to be my wife's. I can get that seat post right down. And yeah, the kind of geometry works. 5'5"-ish. So yeah, let me know what you think. I'll probably throw up some B-roll at some point to give you some close-ups. Do you know anything about this bike? With the integrated cables going through the frame, is this a pre-trek bike? That's my million-dollar question. My belief is that it is, but I've not seen a Pinnacle that seems to be pre-trek. But again, I'm a complete noob with this. But yeah, love to hear from you, and thanks for watching if you made it this far.